Good morning. It's basketball day today. At least that's what I know. It's August 25, 2023. It's a Friday. From what I understand, I hope I'm not mistaken, but today is supposed to be a holiday. And it is supposed to be because, at least in Metro Manila, or I'll have to check with the team, but it's a FIBA day today in the Philippines, or at least the start of the World Cup in the Philippines. Welcome to your program, your agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, trying to get your day started because from the looks of it, it's going to be another day with rain. And at least that promises to make it a cooler day than the past days. A few days ago, it was quite hot. So let's hope that traffic isn't so bad, this being a holiday, and that most of you will stay home to watch the FIBA games on your in your living rooms. And I do hope you enjoy the games. I believe the Philippines has a game today. We will find out all about it here on TV5, on Cignal TV, etc. Now, today, let's get on with our daily starter. And it comes from the playwright George Bernard Shaw. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Well said, and particularly timely because of the events that are going to happen this weekend. And it's a good reminder for all of us. It's not just the very act of playing, but being playful with your family, with your spouse, with your children, or in your attitude. You know, I remember Clint Eastwood once being asked, how do you manage to stay strong, healthy, and active even when you're well into your, I think at that time he was in his 70s or already in 80s. And Clint Eastwood said, I just don't let the old man in. Okay, so hindi siya pumapayag pumasok yung katandaan or isip matanda sa kanyang utak. So please remember the words of Bernard Shaw. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. Okay, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. But before I do that, naku, monti ko nang makalimutan, our expression of gratitude. Thank you to you. Yes, you who's watching Agenda right now. Maraming salamat po for watching Agenda, for being subscribers of Cignal TV, and of course, for those of you who watch us via Facebook or YouTube because you are at work, then we pray, we would like to give our thanks to you because that requires effort. And of course, thank you to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet. And let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star today, August 25, 2023. And the headline is XPS-DBM, Formally Execs Face Graft Trial. The long arm of the law, kahit nakomang, kahit nabaluktot, still reaches out, and former officials of the PSDBM and Formally and an ombudsman, deputy ombudsman has been sacked. Okay, they have been charged with graft, but Senator Cheese Escudero and former Senator Richard Gordon are asking, bakit graft lang? Di ba dapat plunder since the amount was 11 billion or something like that? Anyway, reading the news, the Office of the Ombudsman has ordered the dismissal from the service and the filing of graft charges against former and incumbent officials of the Procurement Service of the Department of Budget and Management, or PSDBM, in connection with the alleged anomalous purchase of billions of pesos worth of medical supplies from the startup company Pharmaly Pharmaceuticals Corporation at the height of the COVID pandemic in 2020. Okay, yan po. So finally, Pharmaly is now going to have its day in court. At the top of the front page, the header of the Philippine Star, FIBA World Cup Rumble begins. World Cup is back home in the Philippines. Cares crew team to beat. Scotty ready for battle. I won't read you that. You are going to have to buy the Philippine Star to read or go online. And the photo shows the members of the Gilas Pilipinas team gather in a huddle and praying on the eve of their opening match versus the Dominican Republic at the Philippine Arena in Bulacan. All systems go. There's also a photo of rehearsals for the flag bearers, the March of the Flag Bearers going on. Meanwhile, speaking of holidays, September 11 has been declared as a special holiday in Ilocos Norte for FM's Ferdinand Marcos birthday. Yan po. Okay, now, another piece of news at the lower part of the Philippine Star, OSG, or Office of Solicitor General, needs 10 million to study legal options on WPS. The Office of the Solicitor General's 2024 budget should be increased by 10 million to further study how the Philippines can enforce its 2016 maritime victory against China, the OSG said. The study will be useful to the President and the Department of Foreign Affairs, determining our future course of action with respect to the West Philippine Sea, according to Solicitor General Menardo Guevara on Wednesday. Yan. In other words, they're probably planning to hire a group of legal experts and academicians or scholars to study that. Meanwhile, okay, we now I overlooked a story. FIBA World Cup Rumble begins as the nation that eats, sleeps, and breathes basketball starts feasting on Unli hardcourt action featuring an array of world's best baller spotlights falls squarely on Gilas Pilipinas. Pasensya na po, medyo op yung kulay niya, hindi na natin nabasa yan. Okay. On the other hand, NIA, or the National Irrigation Authority, probed over 121 billion pesos worth of anomalous projects. The NIA is currently being interrogated, I would say, in the Senate for alleged anomalous and unfinished projects, while its administrator, Eduardo Guillen, promised to weed out corruption at the agency. Last two pieces of news: rice traders can't sustain 38 peso kilo rice. The Philippine Rice Industry Stakeholders Movement, a group of rice traders, yesterday admitted that its members could not sustain supplying rice at 38 pesos per kilo. In other words, okay, rice traders now shoulder at least 500 of the cost of a 50 sack kilo rice. In other words, lugi na raw sila, so tataas pa yan dapat. Okay. Goring may, nako, ito yung mga pangalan na nakakatakot. Goring may intensify into typhoon. A low-pressure area has developed into a tropical cyclone and intensified into a tropical storm that can reach typhoon category, which will also enhance the southwest monsoon. The Pag-asa said yesterday. So, ayun po, no? Medyo paghandaan natin ng konti. Chances are we're going to have a lot of rain in the coming days. Let's just pray that it doesn't impact the FIBA games and that it doesn't lead to more traffic and flooding in our streets, because that's going to be a real spoiler. Kumbaga, wag lang tawag nila doon, illegal delay of game. Okay, we will now go for a break, if I'm not mistaken. And when we return, we shall start with our interviews here on Agenda.
Are you having healthy, nutritious meals lately? The National Nutrition Council, or NNC, expressed concern on Filipino families struggling to afford nutritious meals for the past 6 years. They are blaming it on the skyrocketing costs of buying nutritious meals. NNC estimated that a family of 5 must have a daily budget of over 1,200 pesos daily to afford meals with good nutrition. That's why the said council is pushing local government units to make nutrition program a priority. What other steps can Filipino families take to pursue healthier lifestyles? Let's discuss this on today's agenda.
Dr. Dex Macalintal is a registered nutritionist, dietitian, and a lifestyle medicine physician. He earned his degree in medicine from De La Salle Health Sciences. His specializations include lifestyle medicine, clinical nutrition, primary care, and obesity. In 2020, Dr. Macalintal topped the Diplomat Board examination in lifestyle medicine. Currently, he is the president and CEO of Lifestyle Med Manila, a medical group providing lifestyle medicine services.
Good morning, Dr. Macalintal. Welcome to the program.
Well, good morning, sir. It's nice to be here.
Okay, now let's get on with the discussion. The issue is nutrition, the affordability of food. I'm tempted to ask you this question. It may sound crazy, but is bad nutrition or malnutrition the curse of only poor people, or is malnutrition something that also affects middle class and maybe even the upper class?
Yes, malnutrition can affect anyone. even if you are at the middle class, or even if you are at the upper class, you can be malnourished. There are a lot of risks to these malnutrition crisis that we are having, because we actually have a double burden of malnutrition. It's not only you are obese, or you are underweight, but you can also be at the forefront of malnutrition, or at risk of malnutrition, if you are having food intake that is not complete. Say, for example, if you don't have enough fruits and vegetables on your diet, you can be malnourished in terms of your micronutrients. So even if you are at the middle class, or even if you are at the upper class, you can be malnourished in terms of your micronutrients, because nutrition is not only the factor of your macronutrients, for your carbohydrates, of your proteins, of your fats. If you eat a lot of your fast foods, of your processed foods, you are at risk even of malnutrition, especially of your micronutrients.
Okay, now, so in other words, you can be as thin as a
Mhm.
reed, but you
Yes.
can be actually nutritionally
Yes.
healthy and balanced.
Mhm. Yes.
Meanwhile, you can be, sorry po, sa mga tinatamaan, dati rin naman akong katribo ng lahi ng mga balde at drum, you can be as fat as a pig, but
Yes.
as sick as anyone
Yes.
in a hospital.
Yes, correct. So we should not only take a look at as a person because of their weight. We also should take a look at the person as they are internally, if they are internally healthy. So, for example, one person is on the heavier side. Say, for example, your BMI at around 30 or 35, but they are actually muscular. On the other hand, a person might be so-called underweight, but they are healthy, because maybe they have other metabolic problems that entails them to be underweight. So when it comes to food intake, we must be wary of what we should eat amidst the rising prices of the common commodities right now.
Mhm.
Maybe it is just time that we have to plant our foods. I've been telling this in a lot of interviews way back in the pandemic 2020, when we started the pandemic. But people sometimes heed the call, especially here in the Philippines, with no foresight. So if we have just started planting back in 2020, maybe we have a so-called a plantation already in our backyards, or even we do not actually need backyards. We actually just need some materials. Say, for example, yung mga hydroponic setup. So you don't need a lot of lupa dyan. Hindi nyo kailangan ng malaking lupain dyan. Ang kailangan lang natin sa hydroponic setup, or your even your mga styrofoams, yung mga paper cups. No, we can actually start planting with your with that plastic cups, paper cups,
Mhm.
even yung mga sirang gulong, pwede po nating magawang paraan yan. And we can actually plant vegetables that are rich in micronutrients. Say, for example, your petchay, okra, eggplants, lettuce, your kamote tops, saluyot, sili, calamansi, and others that can have that can give us more micronutrients to our diet. Also,
Okay.
sa dami rin ng tumataas ng mga bigas-bigas, no, maaari din naman po nating gawa ng pamamaraan yan, no, hindi lang po bigas ang pagmumula ng carbohydrates natin. Pwede nating samahan din, say, for example, ng mga corn, o yung mga corn grits. Pwede po yan. Ginagawa actually ito sa Visayas. And konti lang yung gumagawa din ito dito sa atin sa Luzon. But maaari pong gamitin, because nakita rin po sa pag-aaral na kapag nagdadagdag tayo ng mga corn, no, sa ating mga kanin. Say, for example, ayaw ng mga tao ng brown rice, dagdagan nyo ng corn, tataas din yung fiber noon. So we have to be a little bit creative on the side of creating our
Your
meals.
what are the pitfalls of a high carbohydrate
Mhm.
diet? Because
Mhm.
I'm I have been for almost 2 years now. Well, a year and 3/4 of a year been living on a plant-based diet.
Mhm.
Me and my wife.
Yes. Mhm.
And most people keep saying, ang hirap naman ng ginagawa mo. Sabi ko, ha?
Hindi naman
Napakadali,
mahirap
lakad
yan.
ka lang sa kanto, ang daming gulay. Oh. But
Yes.
But what are the pitfalls of
Mhm.
being on a high carbohydrate
Mhm.
diet? Kasi ang dami
Mhm.
mong madidinig ngayon doon sa mga may
Mhm.
pera,
Yes.
keto,
Ah,
protein, ganito,
mhm.
ganyan. But let's start with the carbohydrate because
Mhm.
Filipino meals, ang Pilipino,
Mataas ang carbs.
binabawi sa kanin
Mhm.
yung hindi nila mabili sa ulam.
Yes,
Baga sabi
actually.
nga nila, magdidildil na lang ako ng asin at kakain ng kanin.
Yes. Yung high carbohydrate diet kasi na sinasabi natin, it's actually yung plant predominant diet. No, let's go first with the plant predominant diet. It doesn't mean na hindi naman tayo kumakain ng protina, no? So, proteins can also be acquired in your plant foods. Say, for example, your broccoli, your nuts, your seeds, your legumes are high in protein. When we say high carbohydrate, no, high carbohydrate diet, it just means that your carbohydrate load is more than 65% of your total caloric intake. But I don't think that the plant predominant diet is really high carb. So they are just labeling it because of the just the nomenclature of having the low carbohydrate versus the high carbohydrate diet. It shouldn't be that way. When we take a look at the diets of a person, it should be as complete as a package. Hindi naman porke plant predominant tayo na kinakain, Sir Cito, ay high carb na yan. No, so hindi
Mhm.
siya high carb actually.
Yung high kanin,
Oh, high kanin,
high in
yan.
rice,
Yung
because
very
malakas
yes.
tayo sa kanin eh. Yung mga Pilipino,
Mhm.
is that bad?
Mhm.
Is that good?
Mhm. Yan, yung mataas naman yung kanin, depende sa kanin na kinakain natin. Say for example, if masyadong mataas yung intake ng white rice na bagsak sa fiber at bagsak din po at mataas masyado ang glycemic index, maaari itong magdulot ng diabetes in the long run. That's why we dietitians, we lifestyle medicine physicians advocate na magpo-consult po tayo, malaman natin kung gaano karaming kanin ang maaari nating kainin. Kasi kung ang kaya lamang i-afford ng mga normal na kababayan natin, ng ating mga kapatid ay ang mga white rice, no? So alamin natin gaano karami yung pupwede ninyong kainin at ano po pwede natin gawin para kumain man kayo ng kanin, hindi po masyadong tataas ang blood sugar ninyo. So kapag ka sobrang dami kasi ng carbohydrates, no, maaari pong tumaas din ang ating mga blood sugar which could lead to diabetes. So,
Okay.
yon.
Mhm. High intake of rice,
Mhm.
does that necessarily equate to getting fat?
Mhm.
Or are there other causes?
Yes. Oh, well, there are other causes. So when you say fat, no, when you say fat, yun yung pagtaba ng tao. So kapag ka
Mm.
matataba din yung kinakain natin, no, maaari din po tayong tumaba. It's not actually the excess carbohydrates that is the culprit of obesity, but it is the excess calories. So when you say calories, dito po dito po papasok yung calories din ng protein, calories din ng fat, because 1 gram of carbohydrate would lead to 4 kilocalories. And 1 gram of protein would also lead to 4 kilocalories. But 1 gram of your fat would lead to 9 kilocalories. So on an average person, say for example, a person
Oh,
weighing around 60 kilograms,
mhm.
1,800 yung kanyang usual na calories na requirement. So kapag ka tumaas tayo doon sa caloric requirement na yon sa kinakain natin or yung ating mga calories in o yung mga kinakain, we tend to gain weight. So it's not just the carbohydrates that are in question, but also the excess calories that we are
Sa madaling salita, if I will say it in
mm,
Tagalog, hindi yung kung ano yung kinakain
mm,
mo, yung gaano
gaano
karami yung
karami.
kinakain mo. But you
Yes.
mentioned something about caloric equivalence.
Mm,
You said protein and carbohydrates
mm,
end up at the same rating, but fat is
mm.
almost double. When you
Yes.
say fat, yan ba yung taba na nasa bulalo,
Yeah.
taba na nasa pork chop, or
Mhm,
kasi ang daming debate
mhm.
regarding
Yeah.
taba.
Mhm. 'Yun ang taba po, no, as is the taba, yung oils natin, yung ating
Mm.
yung mga bacon natin, yung mga taba din sa karne. So nandiyan yung taba mismo, avocado oil even, coconut oil, yung mga yan po yung taba na sinasabi natin. Those are the fat that are being alluded to dito sa conversation na to. So lahat ng taba, no, yan yung magpapataas din ng inyong mga maaaring magpataas ng inyong mga cholesterol, ng mga triglycerides ninyo. And of course, no, yung sobra ding carbohydrates actually nakakataas din siya ng taba sa katawan, or nakakapag-deposit din tayo dyan ng mga fats, because excess carbohydrates will turn to fat in the long run. So kaya sinasabi natin, pinakamaganda, no, nagpapa-consult po ang ating mga kababayan, or kung hindi man magpa-consult, no, marami naman po mga forums, lalo dito mga nanonood sa atin sa Facebook, marami naman po mga forums on how to create meals na mga libre na ginagawa po ng ating mga nutritionist dietitians, so that you would be in the know as well.
Okay, malnutrition,
Mm.
malnutrition, malnutrition, pareho ba yan? Or
Okay.
meron bang kaibahan yan?
Yeah, mayroon pong kaibahan yan. When we say malnutrition, so it is either overweight or underweight or obese. So it's malnutrition by the term itself. Usually lang ginagamit lang ng mga tao na pagka sinabing malnourished ay payat, no? Pero misnomer po 'yun eh. Kasi kapag pinagtingnan natin yung root word na nutrition and malnutrition, at that it is either sobrang taba or sobrang onti ng kinakain. And it's usually based on the BMI. But yun nga sabi natin, hindi lang siya dahil sobrang payat kaya siya tinatawag na malnourished. Kapag on the heavier side din po tayo, malnourished din po yung tawag sa atin dyan.
Okay, now is there such a thing as malnutrition triggered fatness? Or ewan ko, kasi parang pag nakikinig ako sa mga nagdedebate dyan hindi, may sakit yan, kanya mataba yan. Parang ha?
No. Actually, depende rin naman po 'yon. It could be a two-pronged sword or two-pronged arrows, no? So kumbaga, mayroong mga sakit na nakapagpapataba sa tao, at meron namang dahil sa mataba siya, or dahil sa on the heavier side siya, maaari din naman po na siya ay nagkakasakit. Say for example, kapag kayo po, kapag tayo po ay mayroong hypothyroidism or bagsak yung thyroid function natin, maaari po tayong tumaas ang ating timbang. No? So maaari and that is not without risk. So kapag tumataas yung timbang natin at yung ating fat level sa ating katawan, yung body fat percentage niyo mataas, maaari tayong at risk sa heart disease, sa diabetes, sa hypertension. And also, on the other hand, if we are to begin with, wala naman kayong sakit, pero on the heavier side, no, hindi masyadong gumagalaw-galaw, hindi masyadong kumakain ng nutritious foods, maaari din po talaga mag-develop ng diabetes, ng heart disease, ng mga sakit na ito na kasama sa tinatawag natin ng mga lifestyle-related diseases.
Okay, given based on the intro video this morning, inflation has gotten out of control. Shortages in supplies has affected pricing, etc. I mean, wala nang atrasan yung pagtaas ng presyo. But what can families do? Because it frightens me to think that if even those who are in the middle class or even upper class can suffer malnutrition, what are the, kumbaga, non-negotiable? Being a lifestyle physician, what are non-negotiable in terms of nutrition?
In terms of nutrition, the first non-negotiable is that you have to eat fruits and vegetables. No matter what happens, kailangan pa rin po natin ng micronutrients that we get from these fruits and vegetables. That's why at the intro, sabi ko nga sa inyo po, kumain po tayo ng gulay at prutas. And sa ngayon, no, na tumataas na po yung talagang mga presyo natin because of the inflation, no, magsimula na po tayo ng food gardening. No, yun ang aking isang unang tips sa inyo. Hindi yung food gardening kasi minsan kinatatakutan ng mga kababayan natin na ay mahal yan, ganyan. Pero hindi po siya mahal. No, maaari po tayong magsimula ng mga hydroponic setup. No, ang kailangan nyo lamang po dito ay lalagyan. No, say for example, yung mga nakikita nyo dati na mga styrofoam na hindi na po nagagamit, no? Kung meron pa kayo dyan sa bahay, pwede nyo pong lagyan ng tubig yon, no? Lagyan nyo lamang po ng balot, lagyan nyo ng tubig at kumuha kayo ng mga cups, ng mga plastic cups na meron pa kayo diyan. Pwede nyo pong butasan yung ilalim at simulan nyo pong taniman ng mga, say for example, yung mga pechay, yung inyong mga saluyot, yung inyong mga lettuce na yan, yung mga eggplants even and okra, pwede nyo pong taniman.
From the sound of it, are you actually doing it hydroponics? Parang
Yes, meron kami.
Ayun. That's
Meron
why
po kami.
you're
Yun.
promoting it. Because
Yes.
ako naman, sabi ko, every square meter na available, taniman mo ng saging o
Yes.
taniman mo yan ng langka or something and then umalis ka na.
Yeah.
Within a
Tutubo
year,
na
2
yan.
years. Yeah.
Tutubo na yan. And sir, kailangan din siguro malaman ng mga kababayan natin na bukod dito sa hydroponic setup, kung meron kayong kaunting paso, pwede niyong taniman. Kaya nandiyan yung kalamansi. So, in a day, no, pwede niyong gawin. Kapag tumubo na yan, no, pwede na kayong gumawa ng kalamansi juice. Libre na po iyon. No? May mga kamatis din. Kung meron kayong konting lupa dyan, pwede niyo pong taniman yun. May mga nabibili din actually sa mga medyo middle class natin at saka sa mga upper class. Kung gusto ninyo, may mga nabibili ng nakatanim sa paso na mga puno na yung mga maliliit lamang. Yung mga dwarves na puno,
Yeah.
pwede po ninyong pwede po kayong bumili ng mga ganito at itanim ninyo sa inyong mga konting square meters lamang na mayroon kayo.
Okay,
And then,
so non-negotiable is eating fruits,
Yes.
vegetables, sabi mo yung rice as much as possible, wag yung super white rice.
Yes.
I use dark brown rice or yung tinatawag na black rice because you eat much less of it pero busog ka na. What
Yes.
other tips or what's your last tip for our viewers,
Yan.
Doc?
Ang last tip natin ay yung tinatawag natin na holistic health. No? Pag-usapan po natin yung holistic health sa pamamagitan ng hindi nyo kailangan ng kahit na anong pera dito. Ang kailangan po ninyo ay determinasyon. Bukod sa pagkain, ang isa pa nating kinakailangan ay ehersisyo. No, so exercise. This is libre. No, so hindi mo kailangan bumili ng mga weights, ng mga body weights. Ang kailangan mo lamang po ay ang sarili mong katawan. So, yung mga nahihirapan, yung mga gusto na hindi ako mag-exercise kasi wala akong time pumunta sa gym. You don't need to go to the gym. Ang kailangan mo lamang ay espasyo sa inyong opisinang maliit o sa iyong kwarto. Pwede po kayong mag-start ng exercise dyan. Pwede kayong mag-jumping jacks, pwede kayong mag-high knees, pwede kayong mag-push ups, curl ups. Just 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, pwede na po yan.
You're the second lifestyle physician, nutritionist who told me that. The other one is a good friend of mine who sabi niya, Cito, I don't go to the gym. I don't buy equipment. I do the foundational calisthenics, the basic exercise, and yung katawan niya, para siyang nag-gym. So, hindi mo kailangan ng gym membership, kailangan mo disiplina.
Yes, and commitment. No, commitment sa paggawa nito. And last na is, tanggalin nyo na po yung mga bisyo. Wala pong magandang magagawa yan sa mga buhay natin. Kasi yung pagbibisyo, no, that could increase your risk of heart disease, your hypertension, and down the line.
Doc Dex, you brought it up, so pahabol na lang, no? We always think ang bisyo is alcohol, sigarilyo, at babae.
Yes.
Pero in the modern day, especially with the young generation, ano ang bagong form ng bisyo na masama?
Gadgets actually talaga yung sobrang dami, yung sobrang gadgets natin. Isang bisyo yan ng mga kababayan nating mga nasa younger generations kasi nagiging in the know tayo lahat, but ang sobra pa din ay maaari maging masama sa inyong mga mata, maaari kayong hindi makatulog ng maayos. Kaya ang sinasabi natin, tigilan na po ninyo ang mga bisyo ninyo. Wala pong magbubuting magagawa yan sa mga buhay natin.
At nagkakaroon na nga ng spinal deformity dahil bata pa lang lagi nakaupo. yung mata nagkakaproblema na, pati yung mga daliri. Baka hindi pa sila umaabot sa edad ko, meron na silang anong tawag doon, arthritis.
Arthritis.
Sa mga kamay. Anyway, Doc Dex Macalintal, thank you for joining us this morning. I do hope you can join us in future programs.
Of course.
And God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll go for a quick break. And when we return, we will shift gears and talk about managing your finances in this I please trust me, it's going to be very testy the way economies worldwide are going. We're going to have to know how to manage our finances. That's why here on Agenda we are featuring two particular topics. One has always been on nutrition and health. The other is on the health of your wealth. We'll be right back after this few reminders.
Private sector economists revised their downward inflation forecasts for 2024 and 2025. According to a Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas survey of private economists, the average estimate for 2024 inflation was adjusted to 3.5%, slightly lower than the previous estimate of 3.6%. Additionally, the forecast for 2025 was also revised downwards to 3.4%, compared to the previous projection of 3.6%. Filipinos could only hope that this outlook is realized, and perhaps even outdone, as rising prices have been hurting consumers. According to Moody's Analytics, the elevated inflation is now eroding savings rates in Asia Pacific. It's also worth noting that the number of Filipino adults with savings had already dropped by 25%, from 38.6 million in 2019 to 28.9 million in 2021, due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. How can Filipinos save money during times of high inflation? Let's discuss that further on today's agenda.
Vince Rapisura is a known financial expert in the country. In 2004, Rapisura established the Social Enterprise Development Partnerships, or SEDP, a company that provides financial literacy trainings to overseas Filipino workers. SEDP is present in 15 countries worldwide.
Good morning, Vince. Welcome back to the program.
Hi, good morning, Cito. It's nice to be back.
Okay, I'm just curious. What is the situation of our overseas Filipino workers in terms of income, in terms of savings, and in terms of outlook? Because things have become very expensive in the Philippines. A lot of countries and their economies have been affected. So I'm worried for the state of our OFWs.
Right. Oh, so for our OFWs, ang nangyayari din talaga Sito, it's not just here in the Philippines that we have high inflation. Maski sa ibang bansa, mataas din talaga ang inflation nila. So, what's happening really is they're having difficulty managing the income that's coming in because prices of goods and services keep on going up. In fact, tama yung yung observation in 2021. A lot of Filipinos and even overseas Filipino workers have decreased their savings much more this 2022 and 2023. Ang isang trend na nakita ko on the ground is a lot of the students who opted not to go to school during the pandemic went back to school ngayong nag face-to-face na, at ang nangyari instead na isa o dalawa lang yung nag-aaral na sa kolehiyo o na mga estudyante, mas dumami. Kaya ramdam na ramdam ng mga OFWs ang bigat ngayon.
Okay, and yung bang mga OFW natin nagbawas na rin sa padala? Has it been adjusted to inflation, and or are they saving, voluntarily saving dahil hindi makasave dito sa Pilipinas?
Unfortunately, yung ating remittance is steadily growing pa rin. I think it's keeping up with a bit lower than the inflation rate. Nasa mga 4%, 3.8% per month, yung growth niya. Pero it doesn't go to savings and investments. It really goes to expenses, basic needs of the family. Even if yung income kasi ng mga OFWs natin hindi naman nag-increase at yung palitan ng piso is relatively stable, tapos nag-increase yung prices, so they need to send more of their hard-earned income to finance their basic needs here in the Philippines.
Okay, what about the people you work with or deal with here in the Philippines? What have you been advising them to do to adjust to all of this? Fuel, wala na. Talagang kung kayang lakarin o bisikleta na kami. And then electricity, I suppose everyone is going to be cutting back on that, etc. What have you been advising your clients or your community?
So, to be able to save talaga from your income, dalawang bagay yan eh. Either you increase your income or decrease your expenses. Pero alam natin talaga, Sito, na sagad na tayo sa paghihigpit ng sinturon. Kaya ako ang mas i-focus siguro natin ay itong pag-increase ng income. Kasi yung pag-increase ng expenses, very little yung kaya nating gawin dyan. At hindi nakakaganda ng loob yung tinitipid mo yung sarili mo. So,
yeah. Vince, I don't want to be kontrabida, Vince, but all the experts that I have been following globally have said the solution of increasing your income is a myth, or at best is just capacitating you to spend more. Kumbaga, tama ka, increase natin yung income, dapat lang, pero ang problema kung bad spender ka, anong increase ang gawin mo, uubusin mo din yan dahil yun yung sakit mo, yung gasta, hindi yung kita.
Right. So actually it really goes together naman coupled dapat yung pag-increase in income mo ng financial literacy. So dapat talaga marunong kang humawak ng pera. What I'm just saying is ang traditional na ginagawa natin at doon na tayo magaling sa scrimp on our expenses.
Pagtitipid, bumaluktot at para magkasya sa kumot.
Oo, yun, So sa akin maganda mag-create ka ng ibang mga side hustles mo to complement, Gaya ng sinabi mo kanina, pagtaas ng kuryente, 'di ba? Pero what opportunities yung kaya mong gamitin yung kuryente. Meron kang refrigerator dyan sa bahay, edi maglagay ka ng ice at magbenta ng ice, no? O pwedeng ganun. So use existing resources that you have to create some more income, no? O pwede rin na meron kang oven sa bahay, hindi nagagamit, gagamit ng kuryente yan. May stock ka na flour, no? So maybe you can bake something and sell it. So these are things that you can do to increase your income a little bit rather than nakatenga siya, no? Another way of looking at it, kunwari yung pagtaas ng gasolina, meron kang sasakyan, may motorsiklo ka, you can enter the what we call the transport vehicle network services, 'di ba? So pwede kang to go into delivery or mga mag-drive ka for transportation. So these are opportunities that we can also enter into. Pero totoo din naman, no, ang sinasabi sa akin pagod na kami sa trabaho namin. Ito na naman ba? Pero ako ang sinasabi ko rin ay, well, we also need to cope, no? All of this is not our fault. Hindi naman natin kasalanan na tumataas ang ang bilihin, pero we have to do our part, and at the same time we also have to influence, no, yung community natin to
Vince, I fully agree with everything you've said. Magaganda yung mga suggestion mo. I'm just worried, are we not creating the wrong mindset, a poverty mindset? Kasi kanya nga, people's sake, I constantly criticize government. Sabi ko, I'm not criticizing government. I am criticizing this mentality na, well, we can't do anything. We just have to save. You have to reduce your food consumption. You have to go out less, ganito, ganyan. And that's why nangyari, utak pulubi na ang Pilipino. Like one of our guests once said on the program, that we have developed, okay lang, basta may trabaho ako, may makain ako, the okay lang attitude, which is not progressive or doesn't, elevate our mindset.
Oo. Actually, yun yung sinasabi ko, no, kasi malaki talaga yung role ng government on this. So I visited some friends here in Davao, at yung pinag-usapan nga namin kagabi na bring up, no, na in the health sector, malaki talaga yung expenses diyan, 'di ba? And ang sabi ko, well, that's what the universal health care is there for. Dapat i-improve talaga 'yan. Kasi ang nangyayari pa rin dito on the ground is doon sa ospital, may desk ang mga politiko. At doon pupunta yung mga tao para makakuha ng subsidy para sa kanilang pagpapagamot. At sabi ko, although the intention is good, but it's not structural, at nagkakaroon tayo ng utang na loob dun sa politiko na dapat wala, 'di ba? But that will help us a lot in terms of improving our expenses, no, for the health needs natin, kasi malaking bagay talaga 'yan. So
kumbaga take advantage of what's available.
Yes, pero dapat, ang sinasabi ko rin, structurally dapat wala talaga yan sa mga politiko. Ang kinukuhanan daw dito ay mga congressman, ganyan. Legislative tong mga to. Sabi ko, paano nila i-liquidate yan? Saang banda ng budget sa legislature yung may pagpapagamot? So, at yun talaga yung nagiging problema rin structurally for us. That's why I said a while ago na hindi lang nakasalalay sa shoulders natin yung pagtaas ng bilihin, hindi tayo nakakasave, yung pagliit ng income natin. There are also ways that the private sector, the government can do, pero we also have our responsibilities.
Okay, so going back to our discussion, prices are getting out of hand, and Filipinos are suffering nutritionally, mentally, financially. So there was this fight the impact of inflation. 6 tips, cut costs at the grocery. Bakit ba lahat ng mga financial experts talagang inuuna yan? Yung unahin nyo yung listahan nyo sa grocery.
Unahin talaga yung listahan sa grocery, kasi kapag nililista mo yung mga kailangan mong bilhin sa grocery, na you prevent yourself from overspending, and you plan ahead, no? At yung pagpunta kasi natin sa grocery ay basic need yan eh, no? Kakainin natin, and we need that to fuel ourselves so we can work, no? And we can function. That will generate income for us.
And going to the grocery, according to a former DTI secretary who told me privately, Cito, mas mura sa grocery pare kaysa sa mga palengke. Kasi sa palengke, ang dami nang pumatong-patong doon sa produkto. Akala mo lang mura kasi hindi naka-aircon, public market, parang nakakatawad ka. Pero hindi mo matatawaran yung mga patong ng mga nauna.
Right. Actually, ang sasabihin ko, ang pinakamura na experience ko kasi dito sa Mindanao Farm Gate. Doon kami bili sa kanila
Correct.
talaga.
Correct.
Oo.
Oh.
Oo. Pero ang observation ko naman between the public markets and the supermarkets, there are goods na mura sa public market, sa wet market, at mas mura naman sa supermarkets. Usually mga dry goods mas mura sa supermarkets, pero mga gulay, isda, usually mas fresh yan sa public market at saka mas mura. Based on my observation at base din sa pakikipag sa mga nanay, no, na who's doing all of these things.
As a financial advisor, what area, specific area, has the highest impact the minute you control it for your budgets and your finances?
So yung yung biggest impact niyan, if you're able to budget, talaga makakapag-ipon tayo, 'di ba? And yung ang sabi ko nga sa pag-iipon, dapat hindi na ito hindi na ito pinag-iisipan. You should already have established an automatic system to be able to do this. So kung meron kayong mga bank accounts, for example, mag-online banking na, and i-separate agad, no? Mag-scheduled transfer na pagpasok ng sweldo mo, ng income mo, papunta na sa emergency savings agad.
I call it automate your savings
Yes.
to another account. Papayag naman yung bangko, basta it is a no limit here account.
Touch me not. Okay. At ang isa pa ay, so that's with the bank, no? Kung hindi available sa banks, pwede din naman na yung employer mo mismo, kausapin mo na pwede ba nakaltasan ka and deposit this immediately to another bank account. Kami in our company, no, we operate a social enterprise. We have about 120 employees, and what we do, very proud kami na walang salary loan sa office, because the moment that they come in and get employed in our organization, we ask them, in our organization, we encourage savings. So if you agree to save 10% of your salary, we will match that with 5%. So no-brainer to all of them, lahat nagsisave. At yung mga bagong...
Pero sandali, hindi ka ba tinatamaan doon? Kasi, other bosses would say, well, that's highly commendable, but 5% or half of their salary you're going to match. What's in it for you?
Hindi half, 10% ng salary nila, 5% lang. So, yeah. So ang ginagawa namin doon, and our ethos is, we believe that if people are properly compensated, they become more loyal to the company, they have more grit to work, at actually iwas sa fraud. Kasi they're getting what they need, and they're provided for, kaya ganyan din yung pag-iingat nila at pag-care nila sa kumpanya.
There's a reduction in fraud or integrity issues because they're invested in the organization.
Yes, oo. Tapos mas din sila, mas ganado magtrabaho because they know that they're properly compensated. And then we reward good performance. So may incentives pa yung mga yan. Pero ang sinasabi ko lang is, kung like what we did, no? It's not up to them to save. But we as a private sector, we laid down the appropriate policies so that they are encouraged to save. So kapag may mag-aano ngayon, instead na mangungutang pangpabinyag, magtatayo ng business si Mrs., mangungutang, they withdraw. At ang tricky, they have to tell me the reason.
Yeah. So you had a good start, budget. All the experts, ladies and gentlemen, tell you, write down a budget. Kasi yun ang magiging guide nyo. Hindi naman trap yung budget kasi na-adjust yan. O, kinulang yung budget mo para sa pagkain, dagdagan mo, bawasan mo yung budget mo para sa mga damit. Bumili ka muna sa ukay-ukay, etc. Then you said, we agreed automated savings para may saving, and better if companies actually initiate this system. Last tip.
Surround yourself with people who save and invest. So kung yung mga parang humanap ka ng mga good influence no sa buhay mo. Kung yung mga kasama natin sa trabaho, sa in our community ay nangungutang ng sobra-sobra o kaya overly spending, baka iwas-iwas muna tayo, or let's encourage our group na mag-save and mag-invest. Kasi ang na-experience, ang nakikita ko rin on the ground, parang tabu yung pag-uusap ng tungkol sa pera. Pero dapat i-normalize natin siya na lahat tayo kailangan natin to at kailangan nating pag-aralan at pagtulungan so that we will be able to save and invest.
That's very true, Vince. Kasi sinabi ko na rin yan. You know, I retired from the car restoration hobby. And sinabi ko yan ayoko nang mag-attend ng mga car shows na yan or hang out with people with cars kasi may inggit ka lang. So same thing with hanging out with fashionistas or even in the cellphone culture, di ba? Pag ang mga tropa mo puro mahilig ng upgrade, mapipilitan ka. Inggit will drive you to buy what you cannot afford. So you're so correct there.
Oo. Ako naisip ko diyan to address that kung gusto mo talaga ng lifestyle na ganyan, then make a business out of it. Bentahan mo yung mga kasamahan mo nung mga goods na yan, no? So you can afford. Oo.
Like yung pamangkin ko, biyahe, may hilig siyang pumunta ng Japan because she just like the country, the culture. So ginagawa niya parang naging biyahera siya na mga pabili.
Yeah.
And then eventually, ngayon doon na siya nakatira.
That's nice.
Okay, well, Vince, we've run out of time, but of course, I'm sure we will be seeing each other again on air. And if not, hopefully one of these days we can have coffee. But in the meantime, have fun there in Davao. Kain ka dun sa Marina restaurant. Enjoy mo yung pagkain.
Doon kami kagabi. Pero may magre-request sana ako if we can talk about budgeting para magkaroon tayo ng bahay. No?
Okay, done. We will ask Gab. Si Gab ang nagdidesisyon yan. Gab Malyari is the EP. He will decide on that. Okay, Vince, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Okay, God bless you. Have fun in Davao. Okay, let's now go to our final blessing for the week. It's a weekend, and it comes from Mr. John Oatman, if I'm not mistaken. Gab, if you would. Johnson, dyan ako nang dyan. Johnson Oatman. When upon life's billows, you are tempest-tossed. When you are discouraged, thinking all is lost, count your many blessings. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord hath done. Remind yourself that you are surrounded by good people. You have a great family, and remind yourself of the good breaks you've had. And we do hope you have a great weekend. Please find time to take care of your needs, not just everyone, but your needs. And God bless you. Please include Team Agenda in your prayers, and please keep it here on One News.